Hello, Commanders. Automatic Gamer here. Welcome to my 2025-2026 Week 3 predictions of the NFL season. And Week 1 and 2 were already insane, so let's see how insane Week 3 is going to be. And let's start things off. Starting things off with Thursday Night Football with the Dolphins and Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a weird, ugly game. Of course, divisional match, so anything can go. AFC East match. But yeah, you got the Dolphins taking on the Bills, and well, I don't really know what to say about the Dolphins at this point. They're just having two losses, one against a divisional opponent and one against Indiana Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. And yeah, I don't really know what to say about them with Tua and no Jalen Ramsey and how everything's been going. And I think Joe Barry's leading their defense, and also I wish he would go back to the Packers where he belongs. And well, I don't really know what to say about the Dolphins. They're just, what are they gonna do the rest of this season? Like, I want them to get wins. Like, they're an entertaining team to watch in the AFC East. But yeah, in terms of them, I don't really know what they're going to do, if they're just going to tank for the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 draft, but I don't know. And of course, you got the Buffalo Bills, which pretty much dominated the Jets coming into last week with Mr. Josh Allen and, of course, James Cook and all the weapons that they got in their wide receivers. Their defense is great. Their offensive line is great. They got great cornerbacks, a good secondary. And yeah, that game, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, Dolphins, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to get this win. So they're going to be 3-0 coming into this week of the season for your Thursday Night Football primetime game. And your next match is I don't want to say this is going to be an intriguing match, but it's definitely interesting because you have the Green Bay Packers up against the Cleveland Browns, and well, Jordan Love versus Joe Flacco. Well, that can be interesting, and yeah, there needs to be some justice in this world. The Packers need to lose at one point. I mean, it was fun to see them beat the Lions, like, thankfully for our division, but the Packers need to lose at some point. Like, unless they keep winning, they better watch themselves, because I think they're starting to turn into the Cowboys. And that just might be me thinking as a Vikings fan, but I think the Packers better watch out. I mean, I know they have a great defense. Their offense is something, at least. And Jordan Love is something of a QB. But, well, yeah, they're going to be facing off against Joe Flacco and 3 other quarterbacks. And if they take one out, they still have 3 more. They still have Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Deshaun Watson, of course. And, well, why? And the Browns last week keep it close against the Ravens in, like, the first half, and then the Ravens just pretty much ran them into the ground like they were thinking they should. So if the Browns defense can hold them like they should, everyone's saying they have a good defense, and they should have a better looking defense if they were able to hold the Ravens like that in the first half, granted. So I'm going to go with the Browns to get this win coming into week 3, and the Packers, I'm sorry, you're going to get your first loss. Not sorry for the Vikings anyway, so skull for that one. Next you have the, oh lord, this is going to be a weird match. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans. Oh my gosh, Mr. Indiana Jones taking on Cam Ward. And what is going on with Daniel Jones? Like, no one expected this. Him to go to Indianapolis, play for the Colts, and now he's 2-0 and he's leading the AFC South. And oh gosh. And yeah, divisional match, taking on the number 1 overall pick. But, I don't know. Cam Ward, he's not, well, he's showing some maybe flashes here and there. He's not like the greatest, and of course he's going to have to learn the system. So I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because he's learning, and he's just your number 1 pick, being your quarterback starter. And of course I know you still have Will Levis, the mailman, I think. But I'm going to kind of give the edge to the Indianapolis Colts. So Daniel Jones is going to be going Mr. Indiana Jones. And unless the Titans have a boulder to stop him from making it to that end zone, yeah, I'm going to give the Colts the win. So Mr. Daniel Jones is going to be 3-0 and leading in the AFC South, which is going to be interesting, of course, because you think it's going to be the Texans, the Strouds, that are going to be winning in the AFC South. But no, and this is an interesting narrative to actually talk about because of how these quarterbacks are adjusting to their teams. But yeah, I really hope Cam Ward for the Tennessee Titans can adapt and actually be their guy on their team. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts to get that win in Week 3. Next we have our game, the Minnesota Vikings up against the Cincinnati Bengals. The kitty goes meow. So for both of our teams, we both lost our starting quarterback. We lost J.J. McCarthy. Cincinnati Bengals lost Joe Burrow due to a toe injury. He'll be out for 3 months. J.J. McCarthy will only be out for a couple weeks, so that's great for us Vikings fans, and we don't have to worry for too long. And I know we're going to be starting Carson Wentz, and I know a lot of people, including myself, are saying, oh, we should have had Max Brosner come in instead because he's way better and he's been showing a lot of potential, especially during preseason and everything that he went through. And I agree with everything that the media has been saying about him. And I really do like Max Brosner and everything that he's shown. But of course, I know the Vikings, we are a beat-up team. We lost our quarterback. We have injuries on our offense and our defense. But of course, I know they're only going to be temporary injuries. And once we come back at our full strength and full power for all these Warriors, because we're the Vikings, we're going to be, I know, one of those unstoppable, most likely a powerhouse still of a team in the NFC North, the probably most competitive division in the NFC. And of course, I know we're going up against a AFC North team in the Cincinnati Bengals. And yeah, they have a great defense. Of course, I know they lost Joe Burrow. They still have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And of course, I'm not going to talk about their defense much, even though they got Trey Hendrickson. But does he really move the needle too much for me on their defensive line? Probably not, because it ain't the greatest. And, well, you're always going to have the debate on who's better. Is it number 18, the best wide receiver in the league, Mr. Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings? Or is it Mr. Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals? So that's going to be an interesting match, but we all know we're going to go with the Vikings to get the win in Week 3, and hopefully it's going to be a bounce-back win unlike last week, and hopefully we can just continue to build on this and heading into the rest of the season. And your next match is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New England Patriots. And, I mean, there's only one answer for the winner of this game, but I'll get to that in a second. But the Steelers Steelers with Aaron Rodgers coming off a loss. And, of course, I know Aaron Rodgers coming there, it's only a short-term deal, a short pay cut. And, yeah, he's probably just going to be a stopgap quarterback until they can find a guy who's going to be like, yeah, but also I know Mike Tomlin, the whole winning record thing, and it's funny every time you hear it. They're going to be taking on the New England Patriots, and of course, I know they won against Miami Dolphins. Dolphins kept it a close game last week, ultimately coming up short, which I hate saying. And, well, yeah, Patriots, Mr. Drake May. I think the Steelers are a better team. And, of course, Patriots did make some additions, which makes them better on their offensive side of the ball and a little bit better on the defense. But I think the Steelers are just a better put together team on the offense and defense and a little bit better in the secondary. So I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to get this win. And, well, Steelers got a Super Bowl. Following that match, you have the the LA Rams against the Philadelphia Eagles, rematch from the divisional round last year. And this is going to be an interesting match because everyone was saying in that game the Rams were so back, and I can partly agree with that because they're a really good team. They have Devontae Adams, they have Matthew Stafford, they have Puka Nacua, they have a great offense, they have a really good defense, a great run game, a great secondary. The Eagles are a little bit of the same. They have Jalen Hurts, they have Saquon Barkley, they have a very good O-line. They lost some players on their defense. Their defense is still good. Their secondary is still great with Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So, and also Eagles, if you want to give the Vikings your cornerbacks, I will gladly take them, or some of your offense or any of your players, I will take them. Just make sure they don't go to the Packers. But yeah, they're going to be taking on the Rams, and potentially it'll be funny if it was a revenge game for Matthew Stafford, because last year they kept it close against the Eagles and ultimately just lost because of the snow and Saquon Barkley. But it's not December, which might give them an edge. So, I don't know. Interestingly, I want to say the Eagles, but I'm going to say this is going to be the Rams revenge game from last year's division round. And I'm going to say the Rams are going to get this win just because saying it's a little bit earlier in the year, and I think maybe the Rams could potentially squeeze out a win against the Eagles, which I think would be really funny. Give the Eagles their first loss of the year. So I'm going to go with the LA Rams to get this win. And whose house? Rams' house. And your next game of the season is New York Jets versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh gosh, Justin Fields versus Baker Mayfield. And the Jets, of course, losing to the Buffalo Bills last week, no shocker there. Justin Fields playing like decently, not the greatest, but I know he's a way better quarterback than Zach Wilson was or Aaron Rodgers, so he can definitely be a good guy on their team. And I know they got guys like Sauce Gardner, not the greatest O-line, a pretty good secondary. It's a decent defense that they have on their team. They're going to be taking on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this answer I feel like is going to be pretty obvious, but I'm going to go into detail first saying, well, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have Baker Mayfield. They have Chris Godwin. They got Mike Evans. They got their wide receiver, Ibuka, who's a very good wide receiver and scored a couple of touchdowns that last Monday night game against the Texans. And I know they still have Todd Bowles, and there's players and fans have issues with him being like that, but he's still a good head coach, and well, they have good coordinators, and they have a great defense. They have a good secondary as well. And so with that, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get this win, and Baker will keep on baking up those wins and maybe potentially win MVP, because there's been some people in the media saying he should be MVP. And honestly, I agree. He is a very, very good quarterback in the NFL. So Buccaneers winning this game and Baker Mayfield potentially winning MVP. Next, you have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Washington Commanders. So Geno Smith versus Jayden Daniels. So that last Monday night game when they took on the Chargers, of course, didn't help when Geno Smith started the game throwing all those interceptions and immediately turnover. Of course, losing to the Chargers last week Like, I think 20-6 was the final score. And of course, they're going to be taking on the Commanders. And of course, I think for the Las Vegas Raiders, they need to maybe get Ashton Jeanty, their running back that they just got, a little bit more time and targets. Just like we need to get Justin Jefferson, number 18, going a little bit more, get him activated to win that game, which I know us Vikings will do that. But anyway, on to the Vegas Raiders taking on the Commanders game. They need to maybe get Ashton Jeanty going a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball going, which will potentially give him an edge against a pretty good Commanders team, especially with a mobile quarterback, a very good offense, and a pretty good defense. And I don't know why it collapsed against the Packers, which was very interesting and weird, because I thought some people in the Packers were like being like, oh, Jordan Love is still not the greatest quarterback. So yeah, with that game going on, I'm gonna give the edge to Wildflower and the Commanders to get this win. So he's gonna be like, hey there, we're going into week 4 with another win on the team. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders to get this win and be like, yeah, Wildflower, he's just praying they can get back to the NFC Championship game like they were last year. And with next this is a interesting fight with a NFC South divisional game. You have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. And I know, of course, divisional match, NFC South, division rivalry. You got Michael Penix Jr. taking on the Carolina Panthers in Bryce Young. First of all, Panthers, thanks for giving us Adam Thielen back. He loves being back here at home where he belongs. And, of course, the Falcons with Bijan Robinson. I know he just ran through us, which sucks on that last Sunday night football game. But I know, yeah, they got Bijan Robinson. They got some other good running backs. They can be still a very, very good team on their offensive side of the ball. Their defense is still very, very good. Their secondary is great. They have wide receivers that they can also throw the ball to, so that's a pretty big edge on the Falcons' side of the ball. And for the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young, Bryce Young is, well, the Panthers are just working on to make sure to try and get some progress going on Bryce Young and, of course, on their team as a whole on the offense and defense and in their special teams, secondary, and everything else. So I think, yeah, this year's going to be a stepping stone. So not necessarily, maybe they'll keep it close because it's a divisional match, but to me personally, I think the Falcons are going to win this game. But if they keep it close, that's good because they're not going to be the worst team in their division or maybe even in the league for football. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to get this win. And Bryce Young, just keep making progress, and maybe next year or a year after you can be the Panthers guy that they took in last year's draft. Or no, wait, the year before, and be like, hey, I can be a good quarterback. So Atlanta Falcons get this win, and Panthers just show some progress. Your next game is a AFC South divisional game. You got the Texans versus the Jaguars. So CJ Stroud versus Trevor Lawrence. And for this Texans team taking on the Cats, well, the Strouds, they're not looking too good. CJ Stroud is having a little bit of a slump coming into this year, which kind of stinks. Of course, I think that's because having a new coordinator, not with Bobby Sloak, which is fine. So there's going to be some growing pains coming into the coming into this season. And I know it's only week 3, but still, he's gonna maybe have to turn some things around to get this offense and everything else going. So I know he's got guys, some on his offense and mostly on his defense, but his offense, I know he's got like guys like Nico Collins, and like he should have he should have a better offense. He's basically the opposite of the Bengals, where they have a defense but they don't have an offense. So offensive line still needs to be improved to get him some more protection and people to throw the ball to. He's got a few weapons I know going on out there against the Jaguars, which may give him an edge. And I know for Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, well, I know for the cat teams, the Jaguars, I don't really know what to say about them because, well, they're a team that, has shown progress coming into the first 2 weeks of the season, so that's what they're probably going to look for, just to keep going on progress, see if they can, like, adapt and, like, keep going in the way of their division and potentially, I don't want to say they're going to be number 1 and leading their division, but this will be more of a progress and be like, this will be like preparing for the upcoming years and being like, hey, we can actually be a good team like we were those few years ago. So I'm going to go with the Strouds, Texans, to get this win, and saying CJ Stroud, he's going to get his first win of the season and being like, all right, so maybe we're not a terrible team in the AFC South. So, yeah. Next, we have you have the Denver Broncos versus the LA Chargers. AFC West match. So the Broncos, with Bo Nix last week, they could have won against Indiana Jones and the Colts, but barring that penalty, they re-kicked the game-winning field goal, so they lost to Indiana Jones and the Colts, which sucked for Broncos and the Broncos fans. And Bo Nix still looked great. He's got plenty of people to throw the ball to. He's got a great offense, a great defense, a great secondary. Got plenty of time. He can be a very mobile quarterback, which will give him a pretty good advantage and edge. They're going to be taking on the LA Chargers, and Justin Herbert on that night against the Raiders, he looked pretty good. Potentially a man on a mission on his that game against the Raiders. So he can be a very, very good quarterback, but I don't know who I'm going to get the edge to on this game because, one, yeah, it is a divisional match, and it could be either or on who's going to win this game, but, yeah, I'm going to have to do a toss-up on this one, but no, it's interesting to pick on who out of this team is going to get the edge, but I think the Chargers might do this one a little bit better and get a win because I think they have a great defense which might stop the Broncos, which would be great. But I think their defense for the Chargers is maybe a little bit better than the Broncos, not so much on the offense side of the ball, but I think their defense will be able to hold the Broncos and will be able to get the Chargers a win. So it's going to be hopefully a good day for Justin Herbert. So LA Chargers will get this win. Following that game, you have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And for the New Orleans Saints, they lost last week, and, they're just still working on the Tyler Shough whole storyline and being like, is he still a stopgap quarterback or is he going to be a franchise guy? But honestly, if you just drafted him this year like they did, I just want to see slow making progress, and then you can be actually a good team in the NFL and even in your division. And I know they still got guys like Chris Olave, and of course, they don't have a very they don't have the greatest offense or defense in the league or the greatest secondary, so which is going to hurt them. They're going to be taking on the Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. Yeah, and Sam Darnold, potentially, if you can pressure him, he's not the greatest mobile QB, as you saw with us that year prior against that Rams team. So Seattle Seahawks with guys like Cooper Kupp, a pretty good offense. It's a good defense. I don't really know about their secondary, but it can be good here and there. But yeah, with that, I'm going to give the edge and advantage for the Seattle Seahawks to get this win. And Saints, just show some progress and you'll potentially be a good team next year. So that'll be that. Next, you have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Chicago Bears. And, well, it's Dak Prescott versus Caleb Williams. So, well, Cowboys definitely shown a lot of potential that they can be a better team, especially with Brian Schottenheimer as head coach and Jerry Jones still, unfortunately, being your owner. I cannot believe I got through that without laughing. Well, yeah, for Dallas Cowboys, I think they have a pretty good roster on their team. Dak Prescott, and of course you got other guys on the offensive side of the ball. You got a pretty good defense, even without Micah Parsons. You still got Kenny Clark and everybody else. You got a pretty good secondary going. And I know he's got receivers throw the ball, so that's great. Of course, he usually is pretty good QB. He's got very good protection, which will give him an edge against the Bears and this defense. And, of course, taking on Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams in the Chicago Bears. They're still working on how Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson are going to work together on their ideals. And, of course, got destroyed by the Lions last week, and I wanted it to be the Ben Johnson revenge game. And that would have been cool. But, yeah, they ultimately lost this last week, and I'm going to give the Bears another loss this week. So they're going to be 0-3 in these games. And, of course, Caleb Williams, if you can show some more progress and get through these struggles that you've had, that would be great. But, yeah, I'm going to give the Cowboys the edge and give them this win. And Cowboys are still going to be like, this is our year, even though the Packers and Cowboys are now becoming maybe one and the same team. So Tom Grassi better watch out for that. Following that game, you have a NFC West showdown. You have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. So Kyler Murray against I don't know if Brock Purdy's back yet. He might. Is he back or is he not? Someone let me know in the comments if Brock Purdy's back or not. But yeah, they're going to be taking on the 49ers, and of course they still got a few injuries going on for their team, which sucks. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, I think, is out, which is going to hurt in their offense, and especially with their starting and franchise quarterback, I think, still out on their team, might give the Cardinals a little bit of an edge in these games. So that I still believe in the offense on both these teams, both the sides of the ball. Their defenses can be great. Their secondary, I don't know what to say about that. It could be still a little bit better on both their teams, but I would say which team has a better offensive line? I would say the 49ers, but if if Kyler Murray is still their QB, and he still got guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. and the 49ers have Brock Purdy still out, I'm going to give, if he's still out on there for this week, I'm going to give the Arizona Cardinals an edge, and everyone's favorite underdog dark horse team, Arizona Cardinals, you're getting a win this week. Following that, you have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the New York Giants. So, Kansas City Chiefs, New York Giants. This is gonna be an interesting game because first 2 weeks, Chiefs look like complete garbage. Patrick Mahomes doesn't look great. Travis Kelce doesn't look great. The offense ain't the greatest. They got guys that are out, so they got like no one to throw the ball to, and even if they throw some of the ball, they drop it. So what's the difference there? And yeah, they just don't look like a great team this year. And if they can pick up some pieces and get people back, they could get something going on the offense, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, it's still good. Secondary still can be great, and well, taking on the New York Giants, got Russell Wilson, who I know lost to the Cowboys last week, went to overtime, still looked like a way better team even though they lost. So I don't know because, well, Russell Wilson being the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. So I know they got guys like Jackson Dart, who can also play in for him, and guys like Abdul Carter or someone else on the offensive side of the ball. They still have a decently defense going on their team. So for that, if the Chiefs are still struggling, I want to say the Chiefs are gonna get this win, but I don't know if they still keep looking like this. I'm gonna say the Giants are gonna get this win. So that may be interesting with the Chiefs going 0-3, but if they keep going like this, I'm gonna be like, all right, Giants winning their game of the week against the Chiefs this week, which will be interesting and pretty funny to watch. And then finally with Monday Night Football, you got the Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens. You have Jared Goff versus Lamar Jackson. A battle of two very good quarterbacks. Not necessarily MVP battles like Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, but still two very good quarterbacks. So, Lions. Week 1 didn't look too great, then immediately rebound next week against the Bears. I didn't see the score because it was super blurry because of all those points the Lions were scoring. But yeah, they looked great, of course, like they usually do. They got Jared Goff, Amit Ross, everyone on the O line, a great defense, a great secondary. Guys like Brian Branch to make Tom Grassi upset, and well, yeah, they just have a great team overall. And this is going to be a tough test taking on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens because they got not only Lamar Jackson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, they got the king Derrick Henry, who can just pretty much run all over you unless you be able to stop him, which is very, very hard to do. They got guys like Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely. They have a great offense, great defense, great secondary. Both these teams, great coaching, obviously, and Ben Johnson. Great coaching, obviously. Dan Campbell, without the original coordinators, which is going to suck and probably dip the Lions a little bit, which will be great for us in the NFC North. So with that, I'm going to give the Baltimore Ravens the edge, and Lions, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So Baltimore Ravens getting that win on Monday Night Football, and yeah, this is going to be a pretty entertaining and an interesting week heading into Week 3 of the NFL season. And if you guys want to talk more football with me, you can subscribe to my channel. Hit like if you enjoyed. If you want to talk more football with me, you can just join my Discord. The link is in the description. And also, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. Let's try and get to 500 subscribers before this NFL season ends, upcoming in January of the season. So thank you guys so much again for 100 subscribers. I really appreciate this community that I've built, and I will see you on the football field, Commanders.